Huh?
All right, we are live. Welcome everybody here to the 7-year anniversary NNSCRA YouTube channel live stream. We are going to be doing a Q&A. We're going to be reminiscing, and more than likely on most streams that end up happening here, going all the way back to like when we did Enter 2003 Universe and all that stuff, we're probably going to get way off topic and be acting like absolute idiots.
And we're going to go down a lot of memory lane. Trust me.
That's a guarantee.
My profile picture did change. It's not North Korea. I'm looking at the stream now. It's my my car. My 3 cars.
I'm still seeing North Korea
on
there,
mine.
Michael.
Look,
I still see North Korea.
Look on the stream.
Michael and Kim Jong-un, they're like that.
Oh, it has changed. Okay, nice. Okay.
Michael sent Kim Jong-un a picture of that car, and Kim Jong-un said, "All right, you get the honor of pressing the button whenever it happens."
Everything will be fine.
Look at this. We're already
started here. Let me just introduce you to the guys that I have here for today's stream. A lot of guys that have been with me for a lot of years. We got first off
I said thanks. We're all old. Yes.
We are old. Hey, let's own up to it. We're old.
Hey,
according to seriously, yesterday, my sister and my mom, they're looking at me like, "Hey, I see 3 gray hairs in your head." I'm like, "Thanks, I appreciate that."
Oh my God.
So
we're all getting old.
My mom, they're looking at me like, "Hey, I see 3 gray hairs in your head." I'm like, "Thanks, I appreciate it."
Someone's got the live stream up and actually with audio.
Oh
yeah,
God.
Quaz, you gotta mute the live stream. You gotta mute the audio on the live stream.
I did that too. I'm checking out the comments, and I just want to give a personal shout out to Landon Fandon 00, which is Sethry Arnhart he puts on in. Thanks, Kev. Thanks, Kev. You're doing good.
Get in here.
Oh my God.
There, now my sister's in the stream too. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
It's that sister.
It is complete.
All right. So anyway, let me introduce you to the guys that we got here. First off, we've got Mr. Anthony McCurry.
Hello.
We've got Charles Sanford.
Hello.
We've got Dylan Young.
What's up?
James Qualls.
What's up, Doc?
And Michael Norman.
What's up, homie?
And in all honesty, I probably should have not invited Dylan here because out of everybody here in this live stream, Dylan is the only one since my channel's been up that actually changed his YouTube name and had to put 2 X's on the front and 2 X's on the back of it.
Hey, and I can thank Google on that, you asshole. So you know what? Google didn't like that I had all
whoa! Hey! This is a Google hang. You're gonna flag this video because you're calling them out, and we won't have.
And gonna come on and be like, "Ooh, we see this. He's bitching, all right." And delete.
Welcome everyone to the 7-year anniversary.
And it's gone.
And you're banned. Nah, they're not gonna ban you guys. They're gonna ban me. There we go.
So anyway, like I said, it's gonna be a Q&A live streams. If anybody wants to ask questions, you can in the comments part of stream video. Okay, what in the world is that, Anthony?
I wanted to be included.
I've seen
What is?
Wasn't that in your trip?
Okay, so he puts a picture and ends up having screen share in the GIMP. That's quite creative.
That is great.
Whoever's working. Oh, not good.
Yes.
It's a way to get around.
What happened to RA on that? Is low.
I feel like it's lagging the stream though. Hold on.
Really it's going in and out.
I think it's just Seth. Seth always lags.
Seth has that horrible lag where you could just hear in the background, "How could this happen to me?"
Oh, you're gonna start Kev again. Dylan, you're gonna start Kev again. Come on.
Uh-oh.
And there's your latest #1 hit from Dylan Young.
I love the fact how you mentioned that Kev just puts on a message where he's laughing.
I swear that's not what he was hearing, though.
Oh, well, it's going to be stuff. So, right on time when that happens.
All right.
Oh, well.
I think close out the show. So hopefully I'm not lagging anymore.
Yeah. Let's get on with the show.
All right. So anyway, I'm gonna ask that. I know that a couple of you guys have the stream actually up. So if there are any questions that come out, let us know. Because if I have it up, then probably I'm gonna keep lagging. So anyway,
Kev just heard it.
Nothing so far.
I've got it on my
All right.
phone as well. I'm checking as well. So, oh boy.
Okay, nice.
And
Nothing so far. They
We
all
were actually before this ended up coming on. We had to wait till my parents went out before I could actually get everything put up, the camera put up, the microphone unmuted, and everything. And these guys were talking about doing some reminiscent of NNSCRA stuff already, but we'll be doing plenty of that. Interestingly enough, I guess the channel's mostly known for Oreo Truck Series, Mobile and Cup Series, Snickers Cup Series, and then now Tax Slayer Truck Series, Pizza Hut X Series, and Hershey's Cup Series. But surprisingly enough, I was telling you guys before we came on the air, the first series that actually went on this channel was actually NNSCRA Quaker State Cup Series. I don't think actually finished out the year. I think I ended up making it races in. I think I got Las Vegas and over to having the Snickers, Mobile, and Oreo trucks. But I went back, I looked, the very first video, or the very first time that I started the channel was April 2nd, 2011, which it's April 2nd today. But the first race that I put out, the first official race, was actually April 7th. And the winner of that race, it was the Quaker State Cup Series Budweiser Shootout. And I'm very curious to know. I didn't go back and look to see if anyone commented under the video saying that they had won the race or not. But the winner of the race was Blake Deaver. And I wonder if there's any relation in any way to Cole Deaver, because I'm thinking, wait a minute, that's the only other place I know of a Deaver from. So I'm very curious if that was maybe a fantasy driver that Cole put in, or if it was just somebody that was way back at the end of the
Cole
channel.
went into the past, the very past. He puts in a driver, a driver. And then you flash forward to the time he comes into the current series, and then all of a sudden, like, here he is.
He took his DeLorean.
This is interesting.
It's the only Deaver I know of now.
Well, we
Cole
do have
Deaver.
our
So
first
I don't
question.
think it was him.
Oh,
do we?
this is-
Okay.
I think this is
William
for all of
Brock's
us.
William Brock's asking, how did you get into NR?
That basically, I think basically people all know that story. I ended up first. I first ended up getting into NR because of stop motion videos. It was actually, I had a winter course. It was a history winter course at a college, and it was, I think, like just for 3 credits, and you were allowed to bring your computer at that time. And so let's just say I spent probably 99% of that class browsing on YouTube and about 1% paying attention to the actual class. And I still passed it, by the way. But anyway, I ended up stumbling onto stop motions. Exactly. But I ended up stumbling onto stop motions, and that's how I got started, making stop motions over on my original channel, which I think I started on YouTube December 2010. I ended up discovering Sean Galligan, NASCAR Stop Motion Guy's channel, where he had the MFN, it was then MFN SRA Craftsman Car Series. And after that, I signed up for his series. I was in the 44, and I asked him, how do you get this stuff? Is there a way I'm able to do this? And he sent me the link to being able to get the game. He sent me, the no CD patch and all that stuff. And that's basically how it all got started. And actually, I brought this down for this stream. This was the camera that I originally recorded all my races with. This is a Panasonic DV camera. And here's the thing, okay? This thing actually has little cassette tapes that you put into it, little DV cassette tapes. So when I would record the races, what you do is you would record it onto the cassette tape, and then you would get, it was an AV cable that you would plug in here. You would plug it into your television, and then I would have to replay the races on my television through the camera, record that onto a DVD, then take the DVD, put it into my computer, record it that way, and then upload it to YouTube. So now I record the races, put it into a video pad editor, and upload it to YouTube. This was about a 6-step process to be able to get videos up back in the day when I first started. Plus, at the time, I didn't have my my YouTube channel completely confirmed. I don't know what the thing is where you have to have like a confirmation thing. So I was uploading it in parts with 15 minutes apiece. So yeah.
God, that's a struggle.
Way back when.
So none of you youngins who are just starting to get into NR, don't ever complain about having to use the video capture.
No one knows the struggle.
This man.
Nobody knows
Claus
the struggle
knows.
except for us.
Claus knows. He uses a video camera.
I will say, here's the thing. I
last
will
of
say,
the
Qualls used to. Yeah, Qualls used to do it. I remember that. But here's the
Even
thing.
I had it with an
I will
iPod.
say,
Sean Gallagher.
I never once had my camera fall. Dylan Potey cannot say this.
Mhm.
Dylan Poteet
Oh
had
my
his camera
God.
fall down off a pile of books when he was
where is-
recording a race once.
Where is Poteet?
You also can't say the same thing about a chair.
I believe
This
Posey
is
is.
true.
Yeah, he's working.
Also,
Oh,
no. Also, I want to go.
Oh, man.
Hold on. I want to go back and say this. Seth got started in NR because it came to him from Jesus.
Yes, exactly.
See, I don't know who should go next about their story. I mean, as much as I love to, if anyone else wants to go theirs first, I mean, be my guest.
Whoever wants to, go right ahead.
Mine's not that good.
A comment from Austin LaPlante. Can't believe that's what Charles looks like. Seriously.
We're gonna get ready with those comments. Oh, jeez.
I
guess
Okay,
it's,
I just gotta throw this out here right now. I gotta throw this out here right now because Charles is here. I was looking back at the most watched YouTube videos on my channel. Number one,
Oh,
for
no.
some reason, is a Civil War game that I played way back. It's got like over 18,000 views. I don't know why. Second one was the Dumb Ways to Die parody that I did, and I played Anthony because he's the one that introduced me to that video. Second, the third one was a Tony Stewart Mobile 1 challenge game that they used to have, and I played that. And the fourth one was the parody that I did over the Squishy Sanford clip where Dory and Marlin end up getting caught in the jellyfish field. So that is the fourth most watched video on my channel.
Congratulations, Sanford. Congratulations. You're now
Yeah,
famous.
thank you. Before we continue
All right, so why
on
don't we go-
answering William Brock's
Go ahead.
question, Levi wants in.
Oh, Levo wants in. Okay, I didn't know he was there. I'll get him here. All right, so we'll go on here. Anthony, how did you get started on doing Enter 2003?
So I don't speak robot, but I'm going to assume.
Did I lag or something? Is that what, are you making fun of me? Did I lag or something?
He's saying that he doesn't speak robot because that's what we're hearing from you is robot.
Oh, well, lovely.
Anthony, you can speak.
Oh, okay. So what was the question? I heard Anthony.
How did you get into NR?
Oh, Seth.
Was it short and simple?
That's the short answer.
Straight to the point.
So interestingly enough, there he goes. But,
Yeah, I'm setting it, damn it.
I don't think he wants to be a part of this one. But so I was browsing YouTube one day, and I don't remember the year because
Neither
it's
do I.
been a while.
Neither do
But
I.
I was browsing YouTube one day, and I don't know why, and I don't YouTube algorithm, I guess. But back they had in the recommended English. They had in the recommended.
Recommended videos.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad English is not your best, man. Oh my.
Deputated Lamborghini. But they had the recommended video section. They had NASCAR stop motion, right? And I was like, I had never looked anything like that up. I had never like wanted to, I guess. I just got done watching, like, I don't know what I was doing, but I was like, huh, that's cool. So I clicked it, and it was Seth when he was doing his stop motion stuff. And then like I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So I subscribed to it. And a couple of like weeks later, I don't know when it was, but he had like the first, not the first sign-ups, but he had like another like sign-up video, and I was like, the hell is this? So I watched it, and then I was like, oh, it's like you're the driver, and that's kind of cool. That's, you know. So then I did one of the cars, and then when he moved over to NR 2002, I think it was, I followed him there, and then when he moved to NR3, I followed him there, and I followed him everywhere. A little bit of a stalker.
See, Seth comes back right at the right time when he goes.
I come back here and say he's a stalker. Now I'm fearing for my YouTube channel. Okay.
Everything will make sense eventually.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Anthony, I'm hoping to make it to 8 years on this channel. Please don't ruin that.
Oh, don't worry, I won't. I won't. If anything, I'm the one kicking your butt, pushing you along. Like, you will not end this channel.
Hey,
Oh
what's today?
my God.
In exactly 19 days, or 18, yeah, I guess if you count the 18 days, it'll be 8 years for me on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, seriously? Wait, hold on. 18 days?
Yep, 20th.
Oh, okay. I was gonna
April 20th.
say if it was 19 days, you'd have actually had your channel started on my mom's birthday, and I was like, oh, okay.
It has.
Yeah,
It
for
has
some
been.
reason, April's got a weird thing. Because also at the same time, April's got the thing within
here.
herself. So
No, here, let me tell you the downside. Let me tell you the two main downsides of the day that I started my YouTube channel. Coincidentally, the day that my YouTube channel started was the same day as Hitler's birthday. It also happens to be the same day as
Okay.
Colorado massacre high school.
Your North Korea car makes a lot of sense now.
want to give a personal shout out to Levi McIntyre.
too.
Yeah, right. Levi just like, okay, how you doing?
My
All right, Levi, we're talking about.
I wasn't surprised.
after that.
what time of him? And then we never heard from him again.
Uh-oh, you got a phone call.
But hey, we rarely hear from Anthony nowadays.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, Michael, what else were you gonna say though? While Seth's on the phone there.
Oh, that was basically it.
Okay.
The two
Right.
downsides.
My YouTube channel started 8 years ago in February.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
we
guess
have another-
I guess I'll share mine.
We have another. Hold on, wait. We have another question, if you guys don't mind, and it's. I believe this is directed to Seth.
That would be directed to Seth, so you might want to wait for him to get off the
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah, he's talking with his AARP rep.
He's got to talk to his bosses and bosses about.
Kids, if you donate $1 a day to the Seth Cole Foundation, you make sure you can help Seth Cole to not get gray hairs. $1 a day.
Isn't that just
$1 a day will help keep the Alzheimer's away.
Isn't it just for men blackout?
It's just for men, almost anything.
Yeah.
It really is.
Okay, so I guess I'll share mine. So mine's rather interesting. So I had a friend of mine who I known on the 360 at the time. I got to give a personal shout out if he ever does get this, called Jacob Bell. He recommended me when he was in a series that Seth made called the NNSCRA National Guard Custom Car Series. Now Seth's probably going to hear that part and be like, oh. And what happened was that he showed me a sign up of, I want to say it was the NNSCRA Euro Truck Series when they were doing season 2. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is interesting. I'll sign up. So I signed up, and then ever since then, I've been doing my thing. Well, I got the influence from Seth Cole and, of course, Sean Galligan to have my series come along. Well, here's the weird thing. I had signups on my videos when my series came around in January. It didn't come all the way till April, which I think it was April 15th, 2012, to where my first race came on out. And it's the weird thing, and if you remember a couple years ago, the whole NRSL versus the NNSCRA thing came around, yada, yada, yada. And like Seth, when I first started out, let me get it real quick because I have it over here in my room. It's going to be worth it.
It ended
I
up
don't know
being
how we can find
races
things in that darkness.
on this little iPod Touch right here, for goodness sakes. And the problem was that I had to do it like this here. It only did 15 minutes. And God help me all. I mean, seriously, if I had one of those races where, Daytona through, I want to say it was Atlanta. I could be wrong. No, Charlotte. I had to use this thing. Heaven forbid. Thanks, Seth. He saved my ass once Fraps came around. And it was at least decent on my first laptop at the time. The second laptop I had worked really good. And then this current laptop I've had ever since has worked beautifully and, again, has saved my ass. So I'll tell you one thing. If it weren't for Seth and all what he's done and, for what he's done for me and a bunch of others, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And that's probably where I'm at today. And that's just how it is, though. I mean, if it weren't for Seth and Gallagher, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And especially with his series in general. I mean, I'm one of the more older guys like McCurry, been around in the early heydays, especially hear names like Chambers and like Shears and like Trent Whitney and, even those names. And I guarantee Seth's getting that reflection of like all those past names who are not currently.
Oh
in,
yeah,
like,
I'm remembering all these Brian Fleener, Jared Crocious.
And some of those names I had too in my series as well. As a matter of fact, when I first came out with Castrol. So
I know Seth was most of that phone call, so thank you so much. You saved my ass throughout like 6 years and all. So
Yeah, I like how I start the stream and 2 people call. It's like, why? You couldn't call this earlier this morning when I wasn't streaming?
all right,
It's okay. I was able to go out in the kitchen and get a cookie, so.
Seth, there's a question.
Hey, you're a good boy. You got a cookie.
There's a question for you from Ace Garcia asking if you will ever do stop motion again.
I mean, I do have a stop motion track that one summer I think it was 2 summers ago. My friend Joseph and I were like, let's try building a stop motion track again. And so I have one downstairs. I think, put it this way, I probably would do stop motions again if I'm able to find the time. But right now, I can't do it because the camera that I would use for it, for some reason, the SD card is stuck in it. And I can't take pictures and I can't get the SD card out. So, but I mean, right at the moment, I don't have really the time to be able to do it. So if I end up doing stop motions, it might be like at a time when maybe I start getting tired of doing NNSCRA 2003, and I'm like, let's just do something a little bit different. But at this current point in time, probably not, because I will tell you, making stop motion videos, at least making really good stop motion videos, and I don't really think that the stop motion videos I made back on Backhaven Club channel were all that great, because there was a lot of not smoothness that I could have put into it, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of editing to do. But with the editing software I've got now, it probably would be a little bit easier. But in the near future, I don't see stop motions coming back.
Yeah.
So who did we end off with? We ended up with Dylan, I think, as far as
we had Anthony and Dylan's NR stories.
Okay. Charles got skipped over apparently.
I guess because it went from oldest to all that, so
I don't know.
I guess Charles can go.
Well, Dylan kind of volunteered. Mine's like the laziest story of all, like the simplest.
God.
Mine's the simplest because I get my laptop August 2012, literally the August after I graduated high school, because that way it gave me something to do my schoolwork on for college. Well, I also then set up a YouTube channel just shortly after that, and with NASCAR fandom basically in my entire youth, somehow look up NR videos. I don't remember exactly how I did that, but what I remember is the first NR race I come to and watch is one of Charles Jackson's races.
Oh my god!
Wow!
And it influences me to actually go ahead and go on eBay and buy the game. And I basically kind of got all the software that I wanted to have that way, because I didn't have a video camera that I would have been able to use. So I had to actually get Bandicam and stuff like that. And I didn't even remember actually how to do any of the INIs or setting up, knowing about opponent strength or anything like that. So the first race I did was like terrible at Daytona at 70% AI strength. So yeah.
God.
Once I knew that,
Charles is basically. So the hidden message here from Charles is he's the only good person amongst us. He bought the game. We pirated ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I pirated.
Charles got a little angel wings, and we all got Satan devil horns and all. Yeah.
Hey, I mean, we all went by the saying, why
Well,
pay
to be fair-
$130 for the game when you can just get it for free?
well, part of it was I
Exactly.
didn't even know about pirating. I was too naive to know about pirating back then.
And
Funny
before-
thing
and
is,
before
we all
the
were.
close up at our doors.
Funny thing is, though, is that the website that I pirated my game off of doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gone. It's been gone for like, what, 5 years?
However, the pirate base still exists, and I'm thankful for that.
Next thing you know, the
Anthony just sold them out.
Well, as long as he
the
doesn't
FBI
mention the
is gonna show
name.
up on our freaking, or the FBI is gonna show up, and everybody except Charles.
Yeah. Well, as long as he doesn't mention the name, that's all that counts.
Well, my NR story's a little bit different. I guess we could go all the way back to the very beginning of my channel, and my channel's been around since July 3rd, 2010, although I had been on YouTube since 2007, but back then I was like a comment troll saying stupid shit. And then again, I was only 12 when I had my first channel, never made videos. That wasn't until I moved into this house. I can't believe it's been 8 years, and had internet, Wi-Fi for the first time in my house, and that's when I started checking out YouTubers, mostly wrestling YouTubers at first, but then I saw NASCAR people. And then, of course, the thing that kind of gave me a big following was the Jimmy Spencer clips I would upload every week, because people really liked those back in the day. And I still get tons and tons of views and comments to this day with those Jimmy Spencer videos. So I already had a NASCAR following from that. But then after 2012, I pretty much was focused on mostly wrestling, gaming, and music. However, late 2013, I already knew about the NR game from like Crash compilations I watched like 7 years ago and stuff like that. But then I decided to see what these offline things were about, and ironically enough, the first person I saw was Charles Jackson.
So I'm not alone anymore on that.
Wow.
No,
I was always alone.
Charles Jackson.
Jackson was the first one, and then, yeah, Jackson was the first one, and I signed up for his series, the DeWalt Tools Cup series. And then about 3 months later, I don't know the exact number, but then I saw Seth's channel, and then I remembered my first time being in that, I signed up for all 3 series back then, the Oreo Trucks, the Mobile One Cup, and the Snickers Cup. And then after being a part of that for a bit, then like April, we're actually coming to the 4th anniversary of when I started doing NR stuff in April 2014 with the Walmart Cup series. And yeah, back in the day where I didn't know much about graphics until I saw TNT Man's video, and also same thing with Track Ionize. I remember the first couple seasons I had like a Montreal race, and good Lord, I never want to use Montreal again. Mostly because there's this one turn that they go into, and they always hit the wall, and it always causes like 30 cars to pile up. I can never fix that.
I know that wall. I know that wall.
I think I only ran one Montreal race, and if I remember correctly, Trent Dunham won that race. I think it was back in season 9, I think, of Snickers Cup. That's the only time I ever used Montreal.
You know, let me ask you a question. How many of you played NASCAR 09 on the Xbox 360? Sorry, Seth, I know you can't.
I used to play NASCAR 09 on PlayStation 2, but I don't have a PlayStation 2 anymore.
Well, I'm asking because they put Montreal on as a DLC in NASCAR 09 on the 360. So I was wondering if anybody here has actually ever played it.
I played Montreal on PS3.
Montreal NASCAR 09 was probably my best track ever. Like I absolutely adored Montreal on the NASCAR 09. I could race that with no setup and be probably the fastest out of a group of people with me.
I like Montreal on any F1 game.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Yes.
Well, we're gonna go to Qualls and how he started in just a minute. But I wanted when Dylan Young was mentioning when I was talking about Charles buying the game, he's the good guy, and Dylan said he's got little angel wings. It reminded me of this meme, so I'm sorry, Charles. I have to show it. Anyway, here you go.
Damn it!
Oh God!
Damn it!
See, he really does have angel wings. Okay, anyway.
But where did the devil wings come from?
That's not Charles. That's Henry with the devil wings.
Oh.
Well, Red Bull gives you wings, I guess.
That's true.
So do Chinese drugs. But anyway, Qualls.
First of all, I don't.
But Qualls, how'd you get started?
From. First of all, I don't know where you get the Chinese drugs thing from. So
that is a late at night TeamSpeak story only.
Usually from a Chinese restaurant.
McCurry chiming in doesn't even know the joke.
I've never been to a Chinese restaurant, so I don't know what I'm missing. Apparently,
What?
anyway.
Yeah,
No,
I know it's ridiculous.
No, you're looking at a guy who back when I was in elementary school and we had like a beach party thing, everybody was able to order from McDonald's or from a Chinese restaurant. Everybody ordered from a Chinese restaurant except me. I ordered McDonald's. So
You are a strange man.
Yeah.
thank you.
No, I'll agree with that.
I'm going to have to visit you, kidnap you, and drag you to a good Chinese place.
I'm not really a Chinese food.
No, please, no, Levi, say restaurant. Don't say place. That leaves it too much of interpretation there. A good
Yeah, I'm gonna
Chinese
go
place.
take you. I'm gonna take you
A
to
good
where
Chinese
you
place
get
could
more
be where
Chinese
Henry goes
drugs.
to get his Chinese drugs. So let's say restaurant, although that could be where he also gets his Chinese drugs. So let's leave Chinese out of the
From some
sentence.
guy in the back.
Hey, Levi, we should take a trip to a Japanese massage place.
Oh boy. Watch I'd be like from the movie Basketball where I get a big sumo
A
wrestler.
guy that was a foreign exchange student from Japan. He actually stayed with us one time, and he made us a lot of Japanese cuisine. So I can say I've had Japanese food, but I haven't really had any Chinese food.
I'm just going to throw this out there, Kev. That's too early in the past to reminisce about that part.
That's too early in the past.
Early in the past.
Yes, he put a "don't forget this," and no.
Charles Sanford is the
recent.
new Stephen Hawking, confirmed. Too early in the past. All right, anyway, Qualls, how did you get started with NR?
Well, first of all, I'm another one of us that didn't pirate the game, so I bought it on eBay myself. So, but anyway, it was about the same as Anthony McCurry's story almost. I was surfing around for stop motion videos one Saturday, and this is 2011 when this happened. And so my channel started August 30th of 2010, but I didn't start doing NR until 2011. But so I started around all stop motion videos, and like McCurry was, and then all of a sudden I came across this thing called the Pepsi Racing Series, which was Hendrick Man 54 series, by the way.
Angel Hernandez.
Yep. And so, and I used to thought his was the most ultimate of NR series until I first heard of you, Seth. But so I watched a little bit of his series, and I also watched a little bit of Poteet's Mountain Dew Racing series as well. So Hernandez and Poteet kind of got me into doing NR and watching their videos, and mainly Hernandez, But so. I didn't have anything where you can download mods. I didn't have anything where you can download cars, so I painted every single car myself. And that's where I first did Castrol GTX Cup back in 2011. And I was one of those other ones that had names like like Chambers, and then several others and Shears was in there, and several of those guys. But as time went on, it wasn't until about 2012, and I finally got the thing where you can download mods, download cars, and what have you. And that's where I started switching around mod after mod after mod and everything else, as I've been known to do. But long story short, that's where I'm at now. Here 19 seasons later and stuff. So. But
Coles has the one that's been running the longest out of anyone in terms of a season count.
Well, yeah. It doesn't hurt as well that you had 3 of your seasons cut short due to your computer glitching or derping. You know what I'm saying?
And I can say that.
Well, even if you say 16 seasons, that's still more, I think, than anybody's got for consecutive seasons of a series.
Would be consecutive seasons of a series. Levi between the two and you between the two would be coming close towards 16.
Right, but it's through different names, though, so I don't know if it's not really consistent in terms of, like, the name and everything. Yeah. But I don't know if you remember this, Qualls. I don't know if you remember this far back. Was Angel Hernandez at the time part of NNSCRA?
I think he was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Because I remember the core 3 were, I think it was MFNPRA back in the day. I think it was that was the original, because I remember it was Galligan, John Dillon, and Timmy Pacioli, and I think Angel Hernandez was their 4th.
And he had all 3 of them in his series, if I recall correctly, too. And, he was in season 4 at the time when I checked his videos out. He was in season 4 of his series, and which I remember that was the series that Breton got all ape, you know what. and he banned him for good, pretty much. First, he was the first series I signed up for, which was the Pepsi Max Racing series, and I had the Stephen Wallace car. This was way before Joanna Long came along and the Nationwide. Notice the shirt, but anyway, so he was the first race I signed up for. Then it was Poteet, and then I think then it was Aaron Reed's Coke Racing series I signed up for, and his series was the first series I won a race in, as a matter of fact, too. Which was
that name sounds familiar, but I can't place him.
Yeah, I don't know who Aaron Reed's channel was at the time, and I had him in some of my series as well, and of course I think he was also in Hernandez's as well. So but yeah, I mean, the way I look at this, here we are now, 2018, and we're all like family in the NR community. Of course, not just more than friends, you know what I'm saying? But you go through the first years where you and Dylan Young and Norman and McCurry all came along. Then later the two Seans, Henley and Galligan, and then to where we got now with you and Jess and Seth. I already mentioned you, Seth. Sorry, Charles and Kyle and Levi.
I'm not Seth. I'm Christopher Pierce.
But that's where I'm at now. You know, it's like it's been pretty cool.
Hey Seth,
yeah, most of us now hang.
We have a special message. Your Facebook post is being boxied.
Oh Lord!
I should have known this when I mentioned.
Of course, it's being boxied. Of course, it's being boxied.
And of course, I blame all that on Charles.
Oh, yeah, I know it's not.
What have you started?
You know, the interesting thing is, too, I mean, Qual brought up the fact, that, we do all this stuff together now. We're usually all in TeamSpeak, talking with each other, doing gaming stuff, usually Wednesday nights and all that. I think a big thing that spearheaded that was actually the NNSCRA guys as well, because I remember my first introduction to Skype, I think it was John Dillon says to me, hey, you should get Skype so you're able to, talk with us and everything. I'm like, I have no idea how to get that. So they ended up getting me the information, the download and all that for Skype.
The easiest way to get Skype, just go to Skype.com.
Yeah, well, I didn't know what Skype was. I had no idea what Skype even was. And the first Skype call I was in was with Galligan, John Dillon, and Timmy Pacioli. And then after that, we ended up having Henley and Trent and Poteet and Dylan Young and Anthony, and everybody just started joining into the community. Yeah, McLeod and Danny Wells. So we ended up having all this group start building, and then it eventually maneuvered over to TeamSpeak. But that, for me at least, was the start of being introduced to Skype. And I don't know if I don't know if Michael, if you or Sean or Dylan or James or Danny had Skype previous to that. But it was my first time. It was my first time of having it, and so I don't know if there was a whole Skype group that was already going on, and I joined into it, or if I was around when it all started formulating or not.
I had it later than everybody did.
I don't remember exactly when I got Skype or why, to be honest. But when I got it, it's kind of. Oh no, I remember. This is my NR story because you guys totally just skipped over me, but
No, we didn't skip over you. I was about to ask you yours, so go ahead.
Sure you were. Sure.
We keep getting distracted.
No, totally, Michael. I was absolutely going to. So.
Sorry, this is for interesting stories only.
Wow.
Wow.
Believe it or not, I'm going to bring up a quite a familiar name to you guys. I'm not sure if it would be infamous, probably, when I say this, but my first ever NR online series I joined was.
Can I guess? I think I know. If it's infamous, I think I know.
Yes, go ahead, guess that.
Aaron Williams Jr., Kevin Ravenel.
Yep.
I knew it.
Is it just me, or did Michael say online when trying to describe the offline series he joined?
Did I say online?
Can you imagine
I
Kevin
think he said
running
online.
an online series? Good Lord.
Can you imagine Kevin Ravenel running?
For what? For president?
But no,
physically.
He was the first ever NR offline series I ever joined, and I was going through videos on YouTube, and I was just like, I saw this. It was like someone running a race in NR, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. I just happened to I just happened to stumbled across his sign-ups video, and it was still open. So I was like, oh, okay, let me just put my name in here, and then of course the rest is history. But I was on a Skype call. Who was it? I think it was actually with him. I think we just co-commentated a race. Probably one of the first times I ever co-commentated a race. And he was like, "Hey, do you want to join a Skype call with Seth Colin and a couple of others?" I'm like, "Sure." And then that's when I got it that's when I got in a Skype call with Seth, and that's when he was like, "Hey, do you want to ride in each of my 3 series?" I'm like, "Oh, sure." And then the rest happened there. I became the first 3-time consecutive winner and the fastest 3-time consecutive winner in the all 3 series very quickly. The first race I ever won was the Lowe's race. What was it? It's been so long. In the Mobile One series, the first race I won was at Lowe's, and Seth was like, you can hear Seth's voice like, "Really? This guy just actually won?" Seth was like, "Wow, this guy actually won." And then it was the next week he went to Daytona, and this is back when he had divisions. And I was watching the race. Lord. Yeah, I was watching the race, and I was like, "Oh," and then he's like, "Yeah, Michael Norman wins at Daytona." I'm like, "Wow, okay." And
I don't regret the decision of making divisions. I just wish that I had just had Snickers Cup Series running at that time, because I was literally running 5 races a weekend with running divisions. It was like, oh, why did I put myself through that?
and then the next week it was what was it? Division. I forgot what division I was in Snickers Cup Series, but I was driving the 11, and I won the race at Chicagoland. And I was like, wow, okay, I could really get into this. So then I started. Then even though this is kind of branching off of NR, then I started watching NR 2003 Universe.
So
you started watching? You weren't part of that?
Michael wins a race is the fact that how he stayed in the NR community. I got it now. Thanks.
No. I started. First I was watching. I used to watch the live streams. You didn't let me in. I requested. You're like, no, you have to be a member, and it was all cool. But I started hanging out with you guys more on Skype, and you're like, hey, do you want to just be a guest? I'm like, sure. And then I started being a little permanent guest, and you're like, oh, hey, might as well just make you a member.
I'm trying to remember how that even started. I remember there was like a live stream that we were doing on this channel, and I don't remember what it even really involved. And I think it was Matthew Rodriguez said, we're doing a lot of talking about, NASCAR stuff and everything. We should actually have like a weekly thing on Saturdays where we end up doing, NASCAR talking and that kind of thing. And I ended up putting together the channel that day. I was down in Maryland at the time visiting my aunt and uncle when I that together, and we end up having our first episode of NR 2003 Universe then.
Hey, Levi, go check out the Facebook post where Seth was making the notification that this was going to be a thing today.
I see that.
Apparently, I'm supposed oh no. I don't like what that reaction was.
There was a Captain America photo posted in the comments by Jess.
Oh.
Yeah, I see it too.
Damn it!
I don't get the joke. I don't get the meme.
To be fair, I'm only wearing the hat because I haven't taken a shower yet. I just woke up
I fixed my hair up. So.
Well, I remember, since you're reminiscing about that, I remember that the way I actually got incorporated into it was because I was one of the rare people that actually had like a little bit of money hanging around. So I ended up actually buying Skype Premium so that there could be actual group video chats rather than just like one.
Oh yeah, thanks to Charles Sand for that. That became a thing, a group video chats. I remember that.
Because back in the day, Skype had you pay for it, so you actually had to pay to do group video calling.
Oh my God, Seth.
So what Charles is basically saying is he bought his way into the community.
Pretty much.
I bought my way into your like small circle of friends. Yeah.
You got money.
Money can't buy you friends. Charles just turns, looks at the shirt, and just laughs.
Seth, you remember the commercial? Do you remember the countless hours of fun we had filming that commercial?
Oh, are you talking about the which one? Are you talking about the one with the 2003 Universe commercial?
Yes.
Yeah, and Trent Dunham says Sega in like I don't even know. He's just like Sega, and then you lost it.
We just all laughed. No, we all lost it.
And it was funny too because there was one point where Matt Rod's like, "That's right, children," and then he's like, "Wait, that sounds like a pedophile."
I remember the one that I was in. I was in the episode, and the one that got me most was Matt Rod.
Good story, Dylan.
Just left it at Matt Rod.
I guess we'll
kind of reminds me
never
of Charles Jackson when we had that. We had the what was it called? What's the Akinator where the genie was trying to guess who you were thinking of, and Dylan asks Charles a question. Charles goes, "Yeah," and then he all of a sudden drops.
I think that's where the yeet meme started.
I think it was. Just like, yeah.
You know what that reminds me of? You know what that reminds me of, Seth? This is from a different channel, Uber Haxer Nova. I watched like a bunch of his Gary Mod murder videos, and they had, Golden Blackhawk, aka Kevin, and Immortal HD, and they were playing, and Kevin all of a sudden he lags out, and they're like, "Kevin, we can't hear you." Kevin, you in your shed. Then all of a sudden you hear Kevin go, "Oh!" like his computer malfunctioned. It's all robot-y and stuff. That's what that reminds me of.
Oh,
I guess Dylan's back. Dylan, what were you going to say about? I think you were going to say something about Matt Rod.
You know, the internet fuck off is all I gotta say. What I was gonna say is Matt Rod when he stumbled off his chair when I was in there one time. I was like,
"Oh no, that was a guest that we were playing guest the wrestling team."
Yes, the WWE theme. Yep.
Yeah.
And the thing, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. The thing I loved was that was so Matt Rod wasn't even trying to fall. He was kind of just sitting back in his chair, and all of a sudden he fell. But we never had a stream again where he wasn't sitting against a wall. So I think he definitely learned on that.
Like, I'm only gonna have this happen once.
This is the only time it's gonna happen.
I remember watching it. No, I remember watching it. It was so funny.
Didn't Shane for one of the streams do like a Wrecking Ball parody thing?
Oh my god!
I don't think that was in an NNSCRA stream. That was over. What were they doing? It was something.
Hold on. It was Danny Wells. It was the beginning of an NNSCRA Universe live stream. He just screamed. I came in like a wrecking ball, and he jumped onto his bed and hit his head on the wall.
Oh,
was that Enter 2003 Universe? Because I thought I remembered seeing Shane do that in somebody's video.
I don't remember Shane doing it, but I know Danny did it.
Shane did it. I think it was something ArcSaw related, but I'm not certain. It was either that or it was either that or somebody was hosting like a reaction video for a race or something, and Shane was a part of it. Because I do remember what Charles is talking about. He was in like an office chair and he pushed it past his camera and went by his camera singing "Nice," came in like a wrecking ball.
That was my video.
God.
He came and did it on a random Skype call because there was like me, Daniel Day, Will Goss, and then there were like Samper was in it, and then like a couple other people, and then like, "Hey guys, watch this." So he grabs his chair and he goes, "I came in like a wrecking ball," and someone made a meme of it. And I think it was Nova, Henry Nova, out of all people.
Henry Nova, wow, TBT.
Like,
I remember that now.
right? And then like, he made a meme of it, like going across, and he kept saying like a wrecking ball, and it kept like you kept hearing like the wrecking part, and it's just like, oh my god.
I came in like a wrecking ball.
TBT to Daniel Day. I still actually race with Will Goss. Will Goss kind of came back about maybe 6 months ago or so, and I've been racing with him pretty regular now. So
Baby Will.
I don't know if Anthony. Obviously, I wasn't here when he was talking about his thing, but I was just thinking I'm the only one of the original NCG MRS group that still does Enter 2003 races. McCrory doesn't, Brandon Gonzalez doesn't, and Ralph Mason doesn't. I'm the only one left of that organization.
Oh, you mean
what's funny?
That organization.
You know what's funny, Seth?
Yeah.
Speaking of McCrory not doing races anymore, we were talking on TeamSpeak the other night about how he still hasn't finished Oreo Trucks last season.
Yep.
Nope.
It'll never happen.
And the last race that ever got posted was a total goof fest where I made you fucking cry after saying Newt Newt.
Oh, race 2. Because I was in the same too. And I remember
Anthony just resolved to saying all the other Truck Series drivers died because I was texting while driving like at Pokemon. So.
Oh yeah, we went to record Las Vegas, but there was no drivers.
Entry grid 1.
Jess apologizes for not being able to be a part of the stream, but she's contributing what she can on Facebook.
Okay.
Hey, Levi.
What?
Weren't you in the booth with McCurry? I think in them. I think it was in the last season of Oreo Trucks when you were at Montreal. And I think you all did that. And I think was that the total goof fest you was talking about?
No, it was a
No, it wasn't because I remember because Henry actually won that one. It wasn't a goof fest.
Yeah, it was a last lap pass because somebody decided to hit that famous wall.
Yeah, I remember. I think one of the Oreo truck races I was watching one time, and I had me on the floor laughing. I couldn't stop for the whole night. So
Which
I don't
one
remember
would
which one
that
it was,
But yes, back to Montreal. It's funny. I've said many times I am never using that track again. LeDuc wants me to run it, and I keep telling him I will never use it. If you've seen the past races, you would know there's a wall that everyone hits and dies.
There's a good version of it that came out recently.
Mm-hmm.
I might have to look into that then, just so I can shut LeDuc up. I've told him Canadian Tire is enough.
yes.
Not the one I use.
Canadian. I actually had Canadian Tire on this season's schedule for trucks, and I had to actually change it because it was actually really good. The racing was really good, but when they come to pit road for green flag pit stops, I think like half the field hit the pit wall entry, and I don't know why. I don't know what the issue is there. I don't know if you have to turn down the opponent's strength so they'll make it onto pit road. I don't know if you have to fix something in the INI. So I ended up having to scrap that race, which was too bad because the first half was all green flag run and it was actually really good. But Montreal, I think that's a track where you actually can edit the INI or at least something to do with the cars to be able to actually have a good race there. I just haven't.
I cannot figure that out for myself.
Neither can I, Levi.
Hey guys.
Here's the thing that I love too about.
I just want to point out real quick that I ordered pizza for everybody, so it should be here in like 30 minutes.
All right.
Okay, look, the last time you said you ordered pizza for us, it never got it, so I don't believe you.
Is anyone else taking advantage of the Little Caesars deal today? Since the 16 beat the 1, getting the free lunch special from Little Caesars?
I'm ready to go there in a bit.
I don't have any Little Caesars around me.
Oh, but you have like an hour and a half to get there. Well, a little less than an hour and a half now because it should be started for you. 11:30 to 1.
I'm never gonna make it. My parents have the car. I can't run that fast.
You're not the Flash. Or Quicksilver.
By the way, Levi, the solution to your issue: just run some of the Pix tracks because they're all based in Ontario, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, Charles is like, run Stadium so I can win an offline race there, like I won an online race there.
I don't have as much luck there in offline like I did in offline.
Or let's just forget Canada completely.
Has anybody been monitoring chat for questions?
No. Somewhat. There actually hasn't been a whole lot other than people chatting amongst themselves asking questions to them.
There's a chat.
Yes.
Yes, there's a chat.
Yo,
here's the thing that I like too. I mean, when I first started the channel, it was basically going to be just Enter 2003, but then I ended up delving into gaming videos too. And to be honest, I mean, I really like the fact that happened because there are so many gaming moments that keep sticking in my mind. I'll kind of reminisce back on them.
Mm-hmm.
I never have had the best computer for graphics wise, having nice smooth videos and all that. But one of the first, and I have to say, probably the video I go back and watch all the time, and it still strikes me funny every time, is with Anthony, Kenny, and I were doing that horror map.
Oh my god!
On Gary's.
I was gonna bring that one up, Kenny.
I did not have a good computer for graphics or anything, but fortunately, I was able to just stand in one place. The screen was completely stationary, so you saw everything, and Kenny kept dying. And you can't script this. You could not script when Kenny no-clips through a wall and hits the bug at the direct moment. It's just like it's a 1 in a million chance that would happen.
Screw you, Pikachu. I'm no clipping.
Oh, come on, Kenny. It was great. I mean, it's one of those things. cannot make happen. It just happens.
It'll never happen ever again.
If you want to know, actually, my favorite gaming moment where I wasn't a part of the session. Well, I kind of was at first, but then I left because of work. It would be Seth, you, and Anthony trying to troll each other in Prop Hunt. Where Anthony was
which
the
time?
bottle.
Which time?
When Anthony was the bottle in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
Well, see, here's the thing. Okay, in my defense, when I watched that back, I looked, and I could have killed Anthony. I could have killed him. But he was hiding with a can. And so when the can ran out, I thought the can was Anthony. And Anthony went back to the bathroom.
Sure,
I'm in pursuit of somebody entirely different.
Sure, blame the can. Yeah, it's all the
I blame the can. I blame the can entirely.
It's all the can's fault, yep.
And then you try and troll him back and you failed.
Oh, yeah, don't remind me of that.
No,
I still don't understand how Anthony was able to kill a cabin, one of those shelves, with one shot with a shotgun. I thought that thing had more HP than one shotgun shot, but he one-shotted it.
I was like,
I think one of the favorite ones to have me be a part of would have to have been one of probably the Town Salem things when I think it was time when someone actually died 3 different ways, like got attacked 3 different times.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
That was good.
I ended up getting killed by the mob. I got killed by a serial killer. I got killed by a werewolf all in one night.
Well, hey, on the bright side, since the werewolf was involved, also the serial killer and the mafia died too.
This is true. But still,
there's too many.
I see the thing come up. You have died. You have died. You have died. I'm like, I get the message. I'm dead.
There's also too many moments for me to try and think of. There's also too many moments for me to try and think of where I was a part of it, because it's like ever since I joined in the gaming stuff, somehow, somewhere, there's always a lull moment. Every single time.
It is not a gaming session without at least one of them, even with golf.
Yeah. But if I were to bring up some that I had involvement in, it would have to be.
Yeah, let's bring up a meme, why don't we? Let's bring up a little meme here. Okay, anyway.
Proud people.
Shut up!
Human uses for animal penises.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, no.
I kind of want to do another Wikipedia challenge.
I started it.
You started it, and I finished it.
But Charles finished it. Yes, he finished it, and that was. I blame him for that, for finding that Wikipedia page.
Hey, in my defense, you are never going there ever again.
I'm not. No. I'm never ever going to try looking up jellyfish on Wikipedia again for a start of a Wikipedia challenge. Never.
It did what I needed to. It made sure you were never going there again.
And like I said,
the stupid thing about that was, Seth, you picked the dumbest picture to represent.
Well, what else am I supposed to show for an orgasm?
You could have asked me. You could have asked me, and I could have done some picture editing for you.
Quote of the day. What else was I supposed to show for an orgasm? Seth?
You could have asked me, and I could have done some fancy picture editing for you, so that way you wouldn't get in trouble.
Thing is, Seth, you know that's going to get you somehow.
Oh, Lord.
Sponsored by...
When you find your significant other, I will bring up this
You put a
video.
picture of a little boy screaming.
No. You're not invited to the wedding.
I will bring up this video at your wedding. I'll be like, hey, by the way, your husband just said...
But I was actually trying to. Oh yeah, it was a Cards Against Humanity game, and I think this was back when David Rivera used to hang out with us a little bit. We were playing cards, and the famous quote of one of the cards that says, "I will pull my blank out of my blank," and I said, "I will pull my dick out of her vagina," and you just went, "I got you, Levi."
I remember that. Oh, Lord.
And that still lives on today when we play cards, and that card comes up.
What I remember was probably the funniest thing I remember dying of laughter to was when we were playing GeoGuessr, and we were in the middle of nowhere. And
Matt Rod
goes, we're in the middle of nowhere.
Or
I love to
the point when it pops up in the middle of nowhere, he's like, "This is Detroit."
Yep, exactly. Whenever there was trees, he was always like, "Well, it's not Detroit." But if it was like bare land, yep, we're definitely in Detroit.
Yeah, and Levi's talking about cards and everything. That's probably that game's probably had the most lull moments of every single one of the games.
That has been the source of us regretting humanity the most.
Exactly.
You know, there's actually a game I was going back looking through old videos today, and there's actually a game that I'm planning on bringing back if I can find it that we used to have a lot of fun with, and that was Family Feud, Battle of the Sexes version.
Oh, that was fun.
No, hey, remember when
Wasn't that when Hudson said Pittsburgh as a state?
Yeah, it was like name the least romantic state in the U.S. and Nathan's like, I know, Chicago, and we're like, that's not a state, and he's like, oh, okay, then Pittsburgh. We're like, let's move on.
Well, actually, hey guys, there is an interesting question here, and I'm pretty sure most of us have had moments where this would be pretty simple and the same.
Hold that thought real quick. You remember when I was still with Jess and we were playing Life, and you lost your job and became a hairdresser?
I ended up not being a third baseman anymore. I became a hairstylist.
And you're like, no, I'll get lice. So
You're like, I know I'll make decent money, but I'll get lice.
I was remembering back to Family Feud. I remember Anthony that Kenny almost died on one of them when I think the thing was name something that you would try and keep hidden from your spouse, and I think it was Chris Kyle said a dysfunctional penis, and Kenny died.
Or there's the Family Feud Battle of Sexes where it was asking about a state and you had two people say a city.
Yeah, that was Nathan Hudson.
Yeah,
he said Chicago, Pittsburgh.
No,
And then Kyle's like, Ohio better not be up there. I'm like, oh, well, let's type it in and see if it is, and it was.
I know, because I remember I was on a team with Jess with my ex at the time, and freaking and Kyle and Nathan, and they're like, Nathan, that's not a state.
By the way, Michael.
Well, I mean, the guy didn't live in the U.S.
Jess was making sure to have you clarify that was Villanueva, not the Jess that most people would know from NR.
Oh.
Oh.
Dumbass.
Well, I mean, then again.
Yeah, and then we ended up having, I think it was Kyle ended up, it was like in life he got married, and we had to give wedding presents, and Jess is like, that's all of Nate's money. Nate nearly went bankrupt giving wedding present money.
No, and you know what the funniest part about it was? I believe it was Nathan. He couldn't see the screen the entire game.
No, that was Kyle. No, Kyle couldn't see the screen. It wouldn't load up for him. So Kyle spent the whole game literally listening to what we were saying, but he couldn't even see the game screen.
He couldn't see it at all.
I was gonna say, but I don't think any moment in cards will be funnier than fellatio.
Oh,
yeah, that one was great. That one I think is gonna be hard to top because one. It was, and here's the thing, okay? You know, a lot of times that I say random stuff when we're doing Cards Against Humanity, a big reason for that is usually when we're playing that game, it's Wednesday night around 11:30 at night, and I'm usually tired, and that's when I say my most randomest stuff. So, yeah.
So actually,
there's getting one right now.
Oh. There's a couple questions in there. Kev was asking favorite offline races you guys have run.
Well, the ones that he's not.
I think for me, it'd be any Kansas race because I think the Kansas that I use is probably the best track to use for offline. Constant passing every lap, hardly any wrecks. That's my pick.
Trying to think out of all the ones I can think of.
Why did I just hear cat?
What? A cat?
It sounded like a cat.
It might have been
someone's drowning a cat.
My favorite? Oh, jeez.
Well, not my favorite. It's the one he's not in.
Well, that's easy enough for mine because he's not in any of mine.
Wait, your favorite?
Well, okay, I don't know if I necessarily have a favorite. One that I thought was cool though was back season 3. Snickers Cup Series Daytona 500 when Trent Whitney won, because I ended up finding out that Trent Whitney was actually the son of Dusty Whitney, who owned the 4016 JJ Yale he drove for that season. So it was kind of like breaking the barrier into the actual NASCAR world. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Speaking of that,
wait, real quick. You said the question is your favorite NR races to run. Was that what the question was?
The question was favorite offline races you guys have run.
Oh, mine would, and Seth can vouch for me because he was with me through almost every Talladega race I've ever ran.
By the way, Seth, Jess says you're screwed.
Uh-oh.
Freaking no, Seth, you remember, right? The Talladega races where like the teammates work together, and
Yep, I do remember that.
Yep, it was where
it was kind of like the most realistic Talladega race you could have.
Yeah, all the teammates worked together. It was almost like 2-car tandems, and then like I said, the one where Trent and Baldwin had the side-by-side finish, but went 4 wide on the back straightaway. I had all of my Talladega races were basically realistic, like no joke. I remember you getting to say, look at Talladega, go 4 wide.
Oh, actually, you want to know my favorite offline moments? It would have to be, I got 2 that stick out in my head. They were both at the same track in Seth's series, the Snickers Cup series. Both races were the All-Star races at Dragon had two separate incidents from 2 different seasons of it. First, the classic 605 limo accident with myself and Jacob Waller.
Yeah.
It was at that time I realized that the track fits 42, but 2 of them have the same pit stop.
Yeah, that was so stupid.
That was so funny when you first realized it. Wait, what?
And then of course the second one being when was it Galligan who turned into McCurry?
Galligan and McCurry.
Oh, he turned into
McCurry's like, no!
I mean, we had unintentionally built up this whole rivalry between Anthony and Sean that whole time, and then it wasn't somebody turned Galligan into McCurry, but it was like they're side by side, and all of a sudden they wreck, and it's like, are you kidding? Did that really just happen?
It was the way the camera looked at it made it look like he just turned right into him.
Yeah. And it was
I like how after all that, I mean, it was let's see. It was Anthony, myself, and Michael. I think you were part of it. And the 3 of us, we are laughing our heads off, and you just hear Dylan in the background. He sees himself wrecked, and he's like, oh, that's rude.
Oh, my God.
You know what McCurry was thinking in that moment?
Shit.
We heard it directly from the horse's mouth. That's what he was thinking.
That's what I was thinking.
That pretty much
and it was so funny because Anthony, at the time that happened, Anthony's like, and we go inside the radio chatter of the 61. The 44 is on your outside. Bam!
Woo! We're about to get robbed.
Side by side. What was it? 61, 44. Oh, he turned him.
No!
Have you ever?
No, I never.
I've had some interesting ones I've had fun running. I'd probably say my favorite one would be one that I ended up making a mistake on, but it was just because of the way they came off turn 4. Unfortunately, it is the Daytona one. But like
remember, Charles, when was the last time you even put out a race?
About 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Still.
Part of the reason.
A long time.
Well, no, the reason why was I was waiting on Steven to actually run the D&Q race for the longest time.
Sure.
No, I'm being honest. I actually had I have the next truck race already recorded. It's just a matter of making it public and uploading it and all that. I have the next qualifying recorded too.
Speaking of races getting made public, in 4 minutes is the next Domino's NXT series race.
And so is,
with it being the 7-year anniversary, at 4 o'clock we got the Royal Rumble going up, and at 7 o'clock we got the 13th annual Snickers Cup Series Daytona 500 going up.
I already know who wins both of them.
Yes, because you hacked my channel and watched my videos ahead of time. I know.
not a hack if you gave him your password.
No, but I always say I hack his channel regardless.
There are
But
four
what's
people
funny-
in this. There are 4 people in this this hangout right that know the password and everything to my channel. So
That would be Michael, James, and Levi.
Actually, the funny part
And
is
Anthony.
I have it set to where it automatically connects to Seth's channel.
Oh,
I don't remember Seth's password, but I do have a Word document that says
Michael's like, I need a pick me up. Logs into YouTube. Wow, I've got over 1,300 subscribers.
No, I have a WordPad that has your password.
I swear to God, if your computer gets hacked and they hack into my account, I'm gonna kill you.
By the way, Seth, just added in your favorite memories from offline. Hers, Dylan Young, Tony Hawking, the indie pit wall.
Oh yes, that was
yeah.
great. That was Oreo Truck Series. I think it was the. Oh, was he? Where he was in the '84. I don't remember if he had the Fruity Pebble sponsorship at the time or
what
not. But
season
yeah,
was
went.
it?
Oh man,
Yes. I want to say yes, I did.
season 7, season 8, something like that. I think.
Yeah, and I remember I was in that season too.
I want to say 7.
Yeah, it got flipped up onto the wall, and the truck just went sliding down that the pit wall.
Oh, but
And
I
then the
almost
other-
forgot to mention this. Another favorite offline moment on my channel came from season 5,
I think.
Walmart
Oh
Cup,
no, I think.
Phoenix.
Was I involved in this? Was I involved?
Yes, you
in this?
were. Yes, you were.
Oh
Seth.
Lord, I know what this is.
And this
No,
was
no.
this was when Jess was in the 9,
Okay,
And
this was
William
the other one I was
Duncan-
going to bring up.
and William Duncan was in the
Oh.
99, and
The
Duncan and
999.
Sheldon wrecked each other. And Seth says, "Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get Jessica Sheldon versus William Duncan for just $9.99."
Yeah,
the WWE,
that was the other one.
WWE Network was going on then, where you could get it for $9.99. So it was like, so I saw the 9 and the 99. So I had to make the
Newsflash.
reference.
Newsflash: you could still get the WWE Network for just $9.99.
Yeah,
He also just-
advertising.
She decided to remind me of the funniest moment from my series. It wasn't necessarily my favorite moment from my series, but it was definitely the funniest. Portland, where all 42
Oh Lord.
all 42 of my Busch series cars actually hit the same exact wall on the track, and only one of
Mhm.
them finished.
Yep, everybody
Only
retired but
one.
one. I do remember that. Yep.
So we had to watch. I had like 2 co-commentators, and we actually had to watch because everyone retired before the last lap. So we had to watch Sky Commons drive around for 3 laps, seeing if he would actually hit the wall again and retire. And no,
I
he
remember
didn't.
that.
So
Wait,
he was the only one.
Dylan, wasn't it a video of yours, or was it a video of mine where one of us co-commentated, the others at Watkins Glen, where we called the bus stop over at Watkins Glen, we called it like the NRSL party zone or something?
I was gonna bring up a funny question.
No, that one's a robot now.
No mechas.
My favorite in our 2003 thing that I remember, and I don't know if this will ever happen again, but when we were recording the season finale of the Truck Series in season 9, we had a spot in it where like all 4 of the championship contenders were like 4 wide in the same turn, and then like half a race later, 3 of them wreck.
I remember 2
I was
online
gonna-
racing. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna bring up a question. What was your most infamous in our offline race in terms of like how bad the race was or something crazy that happened? And I already got my answer, and that would be, I can't remember for the life of me what season it was. But I know it was in my Walmart Cup series. Kentucky, where I had the I made set up to where they could go 4 or 5 wide the whole way around and not wreck for a little while, and it was like quality racing until one wreck happened,
At the
and then
front
they
of the
all
field.
come. Yeah, and then they all go into pit road, and everyone's out except for 6 cars because of a glitched pit road.
No, you want
where
to
they
talk
kept
about,
going, "Beep!"
You
and
want to
then they
talk about a glitched pit road? There was a Daytona track I had. I was gonna run the pit stops for the. Used to never run pit stops in my super speedway races because I thought it really dampened the racing because it split all the cars up and made it less exciting. So I was gonna run pit stops for like the first time, and I forgot exactly what Daytona track it was, but they come in for pit stops but they can't get into their pit stops right. So it's like they get into their stalls, they teleport out of they slide out of their stalls, then they teleport into their stalls, and then they're like stuck there for like 8 laps.
No, you want to know glitch pit road? Las Vegas 2007 night.
Or what about one of the Texas revamped where they make one pit stop and then just keep coming back in?
Yeah, because they're like speeding. I think I figured that out.
Yeah,
they're
Texas.
speeding
There was
on
also
pit
a
road.
Daytona that happened at too.
The
that
Texas,
I did that
I'm
they
pretty
would keep
sure
coming to pit road.
the Texas, I'm pretty sure they're speeding on pit road is what's going on, but I don't know how to fix that.
Well, no, because they keep going in their stops, getting 4 tires and going.
Now I can't
Yeah,
off the top of my head
I
remember my worst race that I actually aired. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I actually found the race where that pit road glitch happened at Kentucky. It was, ironically, the final season of Walmart Cup Series, season 10.
I don't know. I don't know if you remember this or not, but there was a race I ran at Kentucky where the race was ending under caution, and the leader came down pit road, but his stall was after the start-finish line, so he actually won the race while coming down pit road, coming to his pit stall. I thought that was funny.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
You guys just put me in mind. I don't have Kentucky on my schedule, and Kentucky's been one of the tracks that's brought about my best races. I got to put that on my schedule somewhere here.
Uh-oh.
And actually, I'm looking back at this Kentucky race, Charles, and you finished 8th, but you was out of the race.
Oh, well. Hey, it's still top 10.
I don't remember off the top of my head any races that I made public that I actually aired that were absolutely horrible. I think maybe the closest was when I decided to run a race weekend at Pukekohe. That was not a great weekend at all because they were basically missing every corner. They would slide off of the turns and everything. It was like they were racing on ice. The one race that I did run that I didn't air, it was at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Oh, go ahead.
And nothing. Continue, Seth.
Okay. Anyway, it was Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and I had edited the track I&I a little bit, and I didn't think I did anything bad to it. And the green flag came out. Everything was fine. They went through the first corner fine, and then they go to turn 2. They never stopped, and they all went straight, and they went flying over into the wall. And I'm like, okay, guess we're not airing this race.
Wow.
I was remembering back, though. I think basically everybody that was here, and now the people that are still here, have at some point, and some still, race online. And I remember back when Anthony was racing online when we had high grip wreckers. And I remember, I want to say it was Richmond or Charlotte. And I want to say it was Richmond. And Dunn LaPrade had been dominating. I think he had like 5 wins in the first 6 races. And he and I were side by side. He was on the outside. I was on the inside coming out of 2 on the first lap. And I thought, you know what? It's no damage. He's won so many races, I'm going to wreck him. So I put him up into the wall. I look back in my rearview mirror, and all of a sudden I see Anthony's car go flying in the air.
Now you want to talk about favorite online moments then? Me and Jackson doing the morph twice.
Twice.
Oh, God, and I uploaded one of them.
The first time, Charles was like, oh, no. And he got – Charles disappeared and then reappeared again. Talk about Jackson. He has not the best of internet when racing online. Neither do I, but still. And then we're a little bit later on, and you just hear Charles Sanford going, not again. And we didn't even have to guess. We knew what had happened.
Didn't I
One of them was coming back
moment?
to a restart of something.
Yeah.
He was doing a fun run. We were doing a restart, and he blinks out and blinks right back in. It's like, oh, no.
I uploaded that. I called it the Squishy Mayonnaise Fusion. But
I know Anthony will remember this one. I don't know if anybody else was around at this time, but I know Anthony will remember this one when we were racing High Grip Wreckers, and we had a wreck take place, and Ralph goes, "I'm gonna be in the lead," la 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 la, and then he hits a car that was flipping, and, goes, "Oh," and then all of a sudden you hear me say, "None of what I said just happened."
Yeah, I remember that one.
I was gonna bring up another. I was gonna bring up another question. Favorite, funniest NR commentary you ever did, whether by yourself or with other people?
Anytime I had more than 3 people in the call.
Yeah, people would assume my answer would be when I did the truck race with Anthony and DeYoung, but no, actually, it would be one from very recently, like a few months ago. It was Tennessee Super Speedway for my Marvel Studios Cup Series, where I had both Kamikaze and LeDuc. And oh my gosh, the way LeDuc started off by saying, "Okay, Levi, I'll let you get to your shit intro first, but I need to say this to Kamikaze or Dylan Jacobs or Nelson Thornhill, whatever you call yourself. You're starting second again, but you're not going to win. You're either going to choke or get wrecked." And of course, I start in the back because this series is either done to fuck me over or make me look good.
No, not on. Seth knows this one too. There is only one series I think in all of NR that was made to fuck people over. Right, Seth? Come on, it's the series by the same person I just said a few minutes ago that got me started.
I'll be right back.
Oh, yeah.
Remember when we got him into a Skype call and then he actually admitted?
He admitted it.
Yeah.
He admitted that he wanted a multi-time champion in his series, so he rigged it so Poti would win the championship for a second straight year.
It wasn't that. That wasn't that. He admitted to rigging all of his races for people he considered for his friends. He rigged the races for his
But I mean, I think basically from what I can remember, my favorite for commentary, a lot of them were like all-star races. This past year's all-star race was good with Qualls and Hudson. I had Cannon and Mothers for an all-star race once, and both times cars hit the glitch, so the commentary it was really funny. One where it was Michael Dillon Dragonet all-star race, but I think if the first race that I can remember commentary was myself and Poteet. I think we did all 3 races for the Daytona weekend, but it was the Mobile One Cup Series race at Daytona that I remember because there was a big wreck that took place. Dylan at the time was driving the 38 car, and he says, "So-and-so wrecks," and Dylan Pote makes it through, and it's a Christmas miracle! And then about like 20 laps later, we hear a wreck, and I focus to see who it was, and you see Poteet flipping and barrel rolling, and he goes, "Oh, it's not a Christmas miracle anymore."
How about but back to my one with Tennessee with Kamikaze and LeDuc, and then throughout that whole race, because I had the 6 car in there with David Rivera and he had the Viagra car, LeDuc made a Viagra joke, and then because Kamikaze and I were just like, really, we went back at him with Viagra jokes just to make him laugh, and then he's like, okay, I guess I need to quit with the Viagra jokes. Like, I think the funniest one that got him was at the very end where Rivera finished second in the race, and I said, David Rivera was so close, but he came up short. And then LeDuc just started laughing.
Oh, my word.
Stop.
Seth, do you see the message I put over there for the group chat?
I'm currently looking. I remember one thing that I do doing on my channel is race reactions. When we used to react, usually it was to the super speedway races, but I remember when Shane Sides and myself, we did reactions to the then nationwide series race at Daytona when Kyle Larson went up in the fence.
Oh, man.
Both of us literally freaked out when that happened. We're like, he's dead!
My favorite co-commentary would probably be Homestead of a truck race I did. Where I had Chris Washer. Where I had Chris Washer. I had, who else was in there? It was a 4-person commentary booth. It was me, Chris.
I think Seth just gave Jess her reaction.
I think so.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Too bad we're seeing it in still frame.
Yeah, it's like ah.
There. I fixed.
Yeah.
Basically,
I had
yeah.
Facebook up. That's why it lagged.
Yeah, but the favorite commentary, I don't even remember who the other two people were, but I think it was you, Seth, that was in the 87 truck. And it got turned to the inside wall. And I had never seen that out of a Homestead where the truck just gets stuck in the wall. I've seen it on other trucks, but I hadn't seen it on Homestead where the truck just gets stuck in the wall. And Washer's reaction to your truck getting stuck in the wall and just flying everywhere out of it was priceless.
Oh, by the way, guys, the peach is here. Faith is here.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Too bad we ain't getting any of it.
Don't worry.
He said he was going to share it with us, so, you know.
Don't worry.
But I was also going to bring up, speaking of wrecks, craziest offline wreck you ever seen from your own channel or elsewhere, or both.
It's got to be when they hit the glitch at Charlotte on that front D-shaped front straightaway area. They go down into the track and then they shoot up into the.
I should have said not counting that because that one's too easy.
Oh, you didn't.
Well,
okay. Well, how about the one Seth had where it was like 20 cars wrecking off turn 4 and just happened to collect that spot?
Yeah, wow. Right. Like 3 cars hitting that glitch.
But I've
had single cars hit the glitch, but I never had multi-cars hit that glitch before then.
But I've got 2. One from my channel, one from Seth's channel. The one from Seth's channel I thought was the wackiest would have been, I believe it was season 8 Snickers Cup Series at Coca-Cola where Jacob Lawler slid all the way down off of turn 4 and like flipped and hit the bottom of the car in the wall and then flew back the racetrack.
That was, I think, off turn 4 going down near the M&M sign near the entrance of Pit Road, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. So that was the wackiest I'd seen on your channel, but on my channel, not counting the crazy front stretch, Charlotte, but it would be, ironically, it was still at Charlotte, but it was on the back stretch where one of my old favorite wrestling YouTubers, Chase Oliver, was a part of my series. He and Jessica Sheldon get into a wreck off turn 2, and then they hit the backstretch wall. And I think, Charles, you were in the commentary for it, too. They both hit the wall, like Jess's car grabbed the inside wall, and it forced the 21 to hit her, and then Jess goes flying every which way into turn 3.
I do remember that.
What about Poteet's wreck at M&M's, Seth? When he actually flew into that side, the M&M side.
Oh yeah, that was because he slid down and hit the pit road wall, the entrance to the pit road wall, and it shot him up into the air.
Oh God!
Took off like a rocket.
But now, how about more hilarity? If you guys can remember your favorite commentary botch or screw up.
All of Seth's botches, all of Seth and Bill's botches in the All-Star race.
Yeah, we had a fail counter,
didn't
we?
I think you got up to like 6 or 7 at least on that.
It was something like that.
In our fail number 7.
It was even in the one that we did. It was where it was all of us, me, you, Dylan, and Anthony. And we started the video and already Seth failed it immediately.
Well, I
remember that my. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's the good times moment from my series where it was Daytona 500 and I was calling it off of turn 4 and I wasn't expecting the outside line to get like a little bit of a run. So I was expecting it to be the guy on the inside and then outside guy actually got the win. So I called the wrong winner.
I can tell you the most recent fail that I had was last season Pizza Hut X series where Ashlyn Boyd was the driver of the 20. And for some reason, Ashlyn, in my head, is a girl's name. So I would keep saying, and she wins at so-and-so. And I kept...
I was told that too.
And I would keep recording races, ahead of time, so I'd keep uploading these races and not see the comments. And finally, I get this one comment in big capital letters. My name is Ashlyn. I am a guy, not a girl. Stop calling me a girl.
I had something like that too, because Ashley Boyd's in my series as well.
I don't remember this part where. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but my favorite scripts, I got 2 of them. First off, when I called Carson scum one time.
Oh.
And
then on
the
purpose or on
one,
accident?
It was on accident. It was legit on accident. And then the second one, Charles knows this, and it was shared a lot recently, when I kept confusing Preston Plord for Stephen Pollard III.
Yeah, I don't know how you managed to do that. I really
don't know either. I don't know either. And the funniest one was whenever we were looking at a replay of when Pollard barrel rolled so many times, which that one's up there with Crazy Rex. But I kept on saying for Pollard, I kept calling him Plord, and I said Pollard, and Charles, he just started dying. And Preston was like, God damn it, dude.
Jess's favorite botch, Pensacola, with you saying it was spelled differently.
She's never gonna let me live that one down.
When was this?
Oh, I spelled it incorrectly. See the gray hairs. There's a reason why I'm mentally going downhill.
And you also brought at a previous point, she brought up Trent screaming the Tom and Jerry reaction.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, when Trent fell off of the turn of death. I do remember that. Yep. That was great.
And Trent dying 9 out of 10 times in his own series.
I got one for people. Hardest name to pronounce in your series.
Okay,
that's I don't even remember.
Andres Baranskis. I had a hard time saying it at first, but then William kind of texted me. He's like, "Okay, it's Baranskis," and I was like,
"Is it? I've still been saying it wrong. Then I keep saying Baranskis."
I have to bring up
William, if you're somehow
figure it out.
Thank you for telling me how to pronounce that name. Because holy cow, when I first...
I gotta remember that.
No. Seth, you also gotta remember too. So far, the hardest name that you've had to pronounce this season in Pizza Hut X was the one for the 3.
Because I don't know. A lot of mine don't seem to usually.
Well, yeah, but you set me straight on that one.
Yeah, well,
complicated.
You still mispronounced it for like 5 races.
What did I call her? Eystein or something before, and then you're like, no, it's Eselstein.
Yeah.
I think if I remember correctly, and I don't even know if this is still the correct pronunciation, the hardest one for me to pronounce was Rohit Vedaravu.
Hardest name for you to pronounce, Pensacola.
Shut
up! For me, I haven't had hardly any drivers with names I couldn't really say properly. Then watch Charles is going to be a smart ass and say Preston Plord Stephen Pollard III.
I wasn't going to do that.
But it would have to be. Shut up! But it would have to be for the Domino's NXT series. I couldn't have figured it out until he said it in the comments. A guy named Marcus Sachi, but it's spelled like Saatchi.
I always called him Saachi. I think if I remember correctly, I think that's one of Quentin Moore's drivers, but I'm not certain.
Oh my! I think the other
the same guy as Jay Jefferson too.
Okay, so it's one of Jay Jefferson's drivers because he was in Oreo Truck Series last season.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's one I've had recently: Vince Almarego. Now, when me and Kyle,
I've seen that name.
Yeah.
When me and Kyle were doing Daytona, we're like, okay, so how do we say this name? And I'm like, Vince Almarego, and we're just like, close enough. That's good enough for me.
You kind of sound like Emil from Ratatouille. Lightning E.
I know, right? I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, where the hell?
Now I know that Vince is actually in. I think it's the Snickers Cup Series Daytona 500. It's going to be coming up later on today, and I called it Vince Almariego.
Oh.
I think the hardest one from mine, even though I say it nice and smoothly, would be saying Hiroshi Kazuyoshi out of mine.
Yes, I remember that because I was co-commentating your series, and you're like, okay, Dylan, so how do you pronounce this name? I'm like, Oh shit.
I remember that I had trouble with one of Anthony's drivers once, and then he told me how to pronounce it, Makoto Uguchi.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I remember that name.
I had no problem with that. I had no problem with that one.
Is that the Kota Ibushi?
Kota Ibushi.
You know, New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Oh my god. I want to make a quick shout out to Seth because I missed it when I was here. But if you remember the whole Huggies thing, Seth, when it happened, because of when me and you did indie for like, I want to say me and you did indie for like 4 or 5 seasons, and I want to say it was the first or the second one. Something had happened where like someone died, and then we made because they went to the catch fence on the inside, and we made a bunch of Huggies references. And wouldn't you believe, at the very end of the video, Seth puts a Huggies clip in there. I'm like, oh my god.
I put a Huggies clip in there, and then the following season of Snickers Cup Series, Dylan Young debuting the number 2 Huggies Ford.
Oh, I remember that card.
And then I think, what was it? There was a red Huggies car, and then there was a Universal Studios Huggies car. And ironic enough, running one of those races, I ended up winning that in my co-commentary thing. I'm thinking, well, isn't that wonderful?
That reminds me, I gotta look and see if I have you running Huggies as an associate sponsor on your 2 car next year in Hershey's Cup.
God.
I think I do, but I'm not sure.
Well,
you know what's so funny?
Seth, J-Lop 45 there is bringing up, did you remember how you used to call his name?
That'd be Lopez. I don't remember. Oh yeah, I think I used to call him Jordan Lopes.
No, he put Jose
I'm pretty sure I called him Jordan Lopes, and his name is Jordan Lopez.
Well, he put Jose Lopes, so he doesn't even remember you saying Jordan.
oh my god.
Jose.
I thought me calling Carson Gum Carson Scum was bad, but
all right, well, we got to end the stream off here, but
okay, well, one last one then that just threw in there for Michael. Danica with 2 Ks.
Oh, yes.
Danica. Yep.
Danica Patrick, stop crashing, damn it.
Yeah.
Too bad she never will.
Yeah, right.
I
think the
I've
wife had a
got
lot
to
of-
back off, but thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it.
All right, no
You're
problem.
welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.